essentially the fourth quarter. With that, I want to tell you about the Sportsbook Bar and Grill. What a wonderful place to go watch football all season long, Saturday and Sunday. They always have great drink specials. I've told you many times, the food there to me is so good, I do takeout. Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Bar food, it's great food. That's exactly what it is. And, every seat is a great seat in the house. And if you were to put together a sports bar as a sports fan, you would walk into either location in the DTC or the Highlands Ranch and say, this is how I would design it. This is the type of menu that I would want. And that's what you get when you walk in the door. Sportsbook Bar and Grill. You can find them in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Tell me if this phrase sounds familiar. The Chargers are gonna charger. Well, you know what? This is what it is now. The Broncos under Sean Payton, dating back to last year, the Broncos are gonna Bronco. 2-8 in one-score games dating back to last season under Sean Payton. And this is no longer this kind of happens every once in a while. This is becoming consistent. And I believe under Sean Payton, they have beaten only 2 teams with a winning record.
That puts the challenge right there on the table for all to see. I mean, there are no secrets at this point. You are trying to get better as a football team. I'm not going to argue that the Broncos aren't a competitive team. They are. They're a competitive team, but at this particular point, they do not invoke the kind of confidence that you'd like to have in a team going to the fourth quarter with the lead, like they have done in consecutive games, actually like they've done in 3 straight games to start the season. They were able to finish in week 1, but they haven't done it in week 2 or 3 against good football teams. Teams that, yes, they could have beaten, but teams that they didn't beat.
You played at a pretty high level in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I would refer to you as an athlete. I played Little League. I played football when I was in 6th grade till I blew out my knee. I did play some competitive tennis. But with that, do you think in sports there is here we go again, right? When you are a team that loses late, it just becomes ingrained in you that when you're standing on the sideline, what's going to go wrong this time?
I would be very surprised if this group had that mentality.
Let's talk about this group for a second.
Okay.
This year's team is last year's team. They had very little roster turnover. Offensive line, the same. Front 7, basically the same, with the exception of a couple of guys and a new running back tandem back there, which is another conversation that we need to have specifically about RJ Harvey. This is the same team as last year, and they are doing what they did last year, this year, blowing games.
Well, at this point, if I could take the guarantee of them being 10-7 like last year, I might take it. I mean, what's the alternative? The alternative is you throw your hands up and, hey, we'll figure out a way to lose this game. I don't think anybody on that roster thinks that that's going to happen. In fact, I think the expectation is that they're going to win football games. When you put yourself in a position to win, it can, yes, to your point, I think there is psychology when you can't quite get it done.
Right.
And that's where they are at this particular point. But I would be pretty surprised if there wasn't still a lot of confidence with this football team. You're in a position now where basically you've got to kind of go win 2 of the next 3 to get to 3-3 at the 6th game, at the third post, at 1/3 of the season post, if you will. And I think the Broncos can certainly do that. There's no reason for them to think that they can't do that. Where's Bo Nix right now? Bo Nix is missing some key throws. I mean, he's been okay, certainly not great. Hasn't taken the type of step yet that I think a lot of people thought that he would or would hope to do. That's not to say that he's regressed. I'm not saying that, but he missed a couple of throws yesterday that, while hurried, were in the margins very key throws to miss. I mean, the one to Mims was basically a walk-in touchdown in the first half. I mean, you can't miss a guy wide open by 8 yards in this league. You can't. I mean, it doesn't happen very often. And the one to Sutton was another, at least a big hitter that they ended up not getting. When you lose close games, you think of the moments, right? You think of the moments. And it's almost, I'm not saying it's easier, but when you lose by 7 or 8 or 9, well, you don't think about those moments. But when you lose close games, you want to have one play back. You want to have one moment back. You want to have one rep back. That's kind of where the Broncos are right now. So frustrating, but I think it can be overcome.
We know the Broncos are not a great football team.
No.
Are they a good football team?
I think not to this point.
Isn't that interesting?
Not to this point. No, not to this point. They're not a bad football team.
Right.
I'm certainly not going to say that.
Right.
And I think that they can be better than they have been to this point. I'll go even a step further. Would they be a great football team if they had 2 more points or 5 more points? No, they're not, because they're not.
Did you watch? It's almost like, did you watch
Yeah.
the opening 28 minutes of the first half?
Exactly.
With this offense, did you watch the entire first half offensively against the Titans?
Right.
Did you watch the entire game defensively against the Colts?
Right.
You want to talk about a team that is far from playing complementary football as any team in the league. The Broncos are the poster child for that.
Yeah, and they continue to make. Now, they didn't do it in turnovers yesterday. They were +2, but they did it. They did it in with penalties, and that's my big rub about this. You are still committing penalties to the point now where 3 weeks in, you start to wonder, is this just who they're going to be? And the answer is, you can't be this.
Are you going to be part of Payton's press conference at 10:05 today?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I will not be, because I have other things that I have to take care of, specifically the show that I'm doing with Nate Jackson on Gorilla today.
Gotcha.
Would you do me a favor and ask a question to Sean on my behalf, but coming out of your mouth?
Sure.
And say it just like this. Why is this team so undisciplined? Just like that. Why is this team so undisciplined? That's all you have to ask.
Right.
And I really want to know this guy's answer. And when a team is undisciplined, is it on the coaches or is it on the players?
Well, it's a reflection of the message. And is the message being gotten? I mean, damn good and well, the message is play smart, play clean. I mean, that.
Well, here's something else.
But they're not doing it.
And here's something else to consider here. It is Jim Harbaugh who has the reputation of wearing people out. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Everywhere he's been, he has worn out his welcome. Everywhere. So why are his teams so disciplined? They're one of the least penalized teams in the league right now, talking about the Chargers. Right. They were one of the least penalized teams in the league last year as well. And then, he won a national championship with Michigan because they were so disciplined. Why? And Payton's teams are not. That's a fair question to ask him. And I'm sure he'll say, that's a good question.
Right? He might not like that question.
Tough shit.
You never know.
Well, what does it matter? That's the pool he's swimming in right now.
Yeah.
He has an undisciplined football team. And there's a difference between being undisciplined and then being undisciplined in the wrong moments. You could always make the case being undisciplined is always the wrong moment. But in the fourth quarter, that is going to be a nail in your coffin that you cannot pull out at all.
Yeah. And the two penalties yesterday in the fourth quarter were very indicative of that. The face mask on Bowles ended up putting them behind the chains and ended up being basically a 3 and out. And the 15 extra yards on the unnecessary roughness on Hufanga made that a 25-yard play on a drive that they had to have to tie the game, which they did on a miraculous play by Justin Herbert on a ball that could have just as easily been tipped. I mean, literally, Nick Benito was there giving him a high five, but somehow Herbert got the ball around him and made a play. The Broncos aren't making those plays, and they're facilitating other teams to make plays against them by putting the ball behind the chains and getting a 3 and out. In the last two possessions for each team in that football game yesterday, the Broncos went 3 and out twice with 0 points. The Chargers scored 10 points in 2 possessions. And that was the game, period.
Okay. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, and I really don't care. This is a hot take, but it's not a hot take because I actually believe this wholeheartedly. I believe that if you shot up Sean Payton with sodium pentothal, which is truth serum, and said to him, what's more important to you, proving people wrong or winning? He'd pick proving people wrong. And I'm going to give you a perfect example of that. Why the fuck was RJ Harvey on the field to start the game? And I'm going to tell you why. Because he passed on Omari and Hampton, and people felt he should have been the pick, and Jahdae Barron shouldn't have been the pick. But Sean's thinking, my opinion, I'm going to show you why I took RJ Harvey over Omari and Hampton. So I'm going to hand him the ball to start the game. Then I'm going to throw the ball to him as well. And immediately RJ Harvey was off the field. Is there any possible explanation why J.K. Dobbins was not starting that game, considering this is a guy who was released by the Chargers and wanted nothing more than to shove it down their throats? Well, yet Sean put his own ego in front of that and said, I'll show you why RJ Harvey's the guy.
I respectfully don't. I don't think that I.
So give me a reason why. Maybe that's another question.
Well, first of all, Dobbins was on the field in the first in the first series. Harvey touched the ball, but they were on the field together.
Why would you give the ball to Harvey on the opening 2 plays when he has shown nothing but a 50-yard run? You take that away, and I know that's not fair. 12 carries, 30 yards. He's not ready yet. I'm not saying he's not going to be a really good player, but why are you starting with Harvey and not Dobbins?
Well, it might have been just as simple as they believed in the play and the player in the shoot for the play. I mean, I believe he believes that he wanted to show everybody this is how good RJ Harvey is. Back-to-back plays. And by the way, how'd that first drive work out? Punt. Oh, well, I mean, it worked out like the first 1 3/4 quarters. They didn't do it. Nobody was doing anything at that point. But then they had this incredibly lucid 3.5-minute period where they scored 17 unanswered points. They're a little bit of a conundrum right now because they aren't executing consistently well in any of the phases. And you said something earlier in the show that I think is right on target. There is no complimentary football through the first 3 weeks on this football team, period. None. There have been strengths and weaknesses, not too many strengths in the special teams, but there have been strengths and weaknesses pretty much across the board at various times, never at the same time. And it's cost them. It's cost them the really good start that Sean Payton himself has talked about so much wanting to get off to. Yeah, okay. Nobody cares that they're close to 3-0. I mean, least of all, I would imagine the Broncos. I mean, I would imagine that there's some frustration in that locker room right now because you work your ass off to get to a point where you get a chance to win a football game. And I've said it many times, you only get 17 chances to prove yourself. And here they are. They're 3 weeks in, looking at a 1-2 start.
A lot of times when a coach is asked a question about a player or a specific play, his answer, while it sounds like deflecting, and in some ways it is, because we're all watching the same game, he will default to, let me watch. I need to watch the film.
Mm-hmm.
I need to watch. He had an opportunity to say, I need to watch the film before he stepped in what he said publicly when he was asked about Bo Nix. What did you think about Bo Nix today, Sean? I thought he was throwing it really accurate. We'll talk about that next.
Spice up your next night out at Nola Jane and Lodo. Authentic Cajun cuisine like andouille sausage gumbo with dirty rice, crawfish etouffee, as well as 6 different po' boys like soft-shell crab and shrimp. Come in before or after a game at Ball Arena. Host a party or party on their rooftop deck overlooking Market Street during happy hour from 11 a.m. to 5. Plus, Nola Jane caters, delivers, and the kitchen is open late night. Make Nola Jane your new favorite spot to eat, drink, and party like it's Mardi Gras.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corned bake. Man, you got to try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a Ford Maverick Tremor truck or over $25,000 in cash the weekend of October 24th. Daily cash drawings are every 45 minutes between 10 a.m. and midnight. Players can earn daily entries with every locked-up jackpot or by redeeming players' points on their players' cards. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, loose slots, phenomenal promotions, great food, and a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. Both locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook is a hangout bar or great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
And welcome back. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Time now for What's Trending.
What's Trending is presented by Nola Jane in the heart of Lodo. No one does Cajun cuisine better than Nola Jane. Go see why their award-winning menu is the best in town.
So after the game, Sean Payton was asked about what he thought about Bo Nix and how he played. And he said, I thought he was throwing it really accurate. Well, if your metric is completing 56% of your passes and missing 3 guys who were wide open for what likely would have been touchdowns, and if that's your metric, Sean, I agree with you.
Well, I mean, there's
Here's the thing, Bruce.
this is just having his back more than anything.
No, this is beyond weird. It is. And I will give Troy Rank credit for saying it last week. He said, Payton's defense of Nix is weird. I talked to Troy this morning when he was at the airport, and I said, what you wrote last week, pump it up with HGH and steroids. This is becoming really weird. And the reason why it's becoming really weird is because of what Sean Payton said before he drafted Bo Nix. We know how to evaluate quarterbacks better than anybody in the league. And then he doubled down before the start of the season. Bo Nix is going to be a top 5 quarterback over the next 2 years. He has hitched his wagon to Nix in a way where it is super glued and it's never going to come undone. He almost has to defend him, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're in that place, and it sounds like that. I mean,
it's like dating a girl who has a compulsive problem with shoplifting.
Yeah.
And you keep defending on why she keeps stealing from Nordstrom's.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I think, yes, I do think that there is an unnecessary defense of him, because when we don't even have to know football, but you can read a stat sheet. And when a player the NFL is connecting on 56% of his passes, and I know he threw away probably 4 balls, that count against that percentage, but that's nitpicking. The
he has 3 open wide receivers for touchdowns.
Well,
period.
Yeah.
You ever seen, actually, in all your years of covering football, have you seen a quarterback miss 3 guys who could have scored touchdowns when the guy in coverage was as close as I was sitting on my couch in Denver?
Yeah. There are times when, you wonder why and it's not like Bo Nix can't handle it. I don't
know if he can handle it.
Well, I think
that Payton has put too much pressure on him with that comment, top 5 next 2 years. And his mechanics, and I am not some quarterback guru, but any layman can see that he didn't set his feet on any of those.
Yeah, the flea flicker in particular was egregious, but and I'm sure the pushback would be running back didn't get far enough in to make, and Nix was moving and blah, 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 whatever. That all gets back to execution then, doesn't it? I mean, it all gets back to the same place. You're not executing things that you can do and should be able to do well. So is it weird? Yeah, I guess it's odd. I mean, I just don't think that you need to, I don't think that he needs to be defended. I don't think that he needs a knight in shining armor. I think my sense on Bo Nix is he's very hard on himself. I think
too hard.
I think he does a lot of self-policing and a self-analysis. Maybe he's doing that to a fault.
He's a talented guy.
There he is.
He has a fast processor. This is in his head. He is the guy on the golf course who needs a psychologist for the yips missing 3-foot putts.
Yeah.
That's what he needs. He doesn't need Sean Payton to talk to him. He seriously needs someone to get into his head and say, it's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
It looks like he's putting way too much pressure on himself. But then again, it doesn't help in the opening game when Sean, straps him down and says, go win us a game in the first half against the Titans.
Yeah, absolutely. Their balance has been, and as a result, their balance in the last two games has been winning balance. I think. I mean, I like the balance that they're playing with, but their execution just isn't there. It's in the margins. It's in the margins of the NFL. That's where you win and lose football games. Period. And they're in a place where they're losing football games. Can it change? Will it change? Don't know about will it change. It certainly can change.
Yep.
But you got to go do it. It's plain and simple.
So for the second time this season, including the opener, Broncos offense awful in the opening half. How much do you put on Payton in his play calling? How much do you put on? Again, he loves his, multiple substitutions. So what happened again on the second series? What do they have to do? They have to call another timeout. It's too much. Keep it simple. Sean, we know that you are a brilliant offensive mind.
Yep.
But you're making it too complicated. And honestly, he did dial up some very, very good plays
He did.
that the offense was not able to execute.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, it is still too complicated. There's too much going on. He's trying to he's trying to outsmart everybody. He has a really good offensive line. He has a couple of good running backs. There's plenty of speed and talent at the wide receiver position. Bo Nix is in a sophomore slump right now. If you want to criticize Sean Payton, in hindsight, you should have drafted a tight end in a tight end rich draft. Instead, you went with a guy in Evan Ingram who has been a complete non-factor this season.
Right.
Injuries have certainly played a part in it, and I get it. But the reason why you brought in Greenlaw, who's now out for the next 4 games, and Ingram is because of what has happened over the last 2 years. Bo Lowry has done a masterful job of keeping guys on the field. We talk about the law of averages. Well, the bottom has fallen out right now on Ingram and Greenlaw, soft tissue injuries.
Yeah. Now, those are the only two that are really battling it, but they're two very conspicuous guys. They're guys that you brought in to be part of the accelerant that moves you forward in terms of your competitiveness and in terms of being a playoff team and all of the things that you want to get better at. So, yeah, they're in a little bit of an interesting place right now where and Sean said it yesterday, and he said it consistently, and we've known this because this has been a mantra of Sean's for the 3 years he's been here now. The race for the quarter pole. This is a big thing for Sean. Well, how much yardage do they have to make up right now to be in that race to the quarter pole? How much can you do in a week when you have obviously some things that you've still got to work on pretty consistently? How much room are you going to be making up? I mean, we talk about football being a game of inches. They're giving away yards. The Broncos are in this game of inches are giving away yards. So how do you stop that and start pulling that back in and get yourself to a position where you feel pretty good next Monday night at the quarter pole? His definition, not mine, at the quarter pole to be the type of team that you need to be moving forward. I mean, the Broncos have a fair amount of ground to make up, don't they?
Just how bad are the Cincinnati Bengals without Joe Burrow? They lost to the Vikings 48-10, and the Vikings didn't have their starting quarterback.
Right.
What a gift the Broncos have gotten for next Monday night. But if they lose that one, the villagers are going to be outside of Dove Valley with pitchforks and torches.
Figuratively, of course. But this becomes, look, I really resisted the whole must-win game against the Chargers. When you have 14 games left and you've got one win in your pocket, it can't be a must-win game. Big game, Yes, for obvious reasons. No question. Not going to argue that. One that you desperately want to get, no question. Not going to argue that. But you're starting now, you get into this portion of the season where you're getting to week 5 and week 6. You better have an idea of who you are. You better be able to trust it, and you better be able to start counting on it to win you the games that you need to get. 10 or 11 is the number in the AFC that you better be thinking about in terms of win. And even 10, there's no guarantee that you get there. The AFC is very, very competitive. So, yeah, the urgency is going to start to ratchet up in the next few weeks.
If they lose on Monday, their season is over.
Over.
Completely over. Pack it up, prepare for next year, because they're sure as hell not going to Philadelphia to win. They're not going to win that. They are not going to win that game. So now they will be 1-4 if they lose to Cincinnati. They're done. They're not going to have some miracle run like they did last year, because they still have Green Bay on the schedule. And I understand Green Bay lost to the Browns. They're well coached enough. They have enough talent on that team where that was a blip. That was an any given Sunday loss.
Yeah, and you haven't gone to Washington. You haven't gone to Kansas City. You get the Chargers back here. I mean, it's not supposed to be easy. I mean, everybody that's in this knows it's not easy. What's the saying? It's hard to win games in the NFL. They're right. It is hard to win games in the NFL. Unfortunately, the Broncos are proving it.
They're beating themselves.
Yes. And that's exactly
how do you turn that around when you have watched the last 2 fourth quarters and you might be walking into that fourth quarter again with a lead and wondering, are we going to hold it? It's a mental thing as much as anything else. And it's a discipline thing where they're committing penalties, and they're committing penalties at the wrong time.
Yes.
A penalty can kill a drive, but let's just look at what happened after the Broncos took the lead 20-13 in the fourth quarter. Broncos offense, 3 and out, final 2 drives.
Right.
9 total yards, 14 penalty yards. 14 penalty yards and 9 yards. Chargers' final 2 drives, 15 plays, 119 yards, and 10 points.
By the way, inexcusable is what I would use to describe the Broncos' performance or lack thereof. It's inexcusable. I mean, and they know it. You've got to be able to execute in those moments. I mean, Bo Nix comes up a half a yard or a foot shy on the 17-yard run, but they were in a position where they had to pick up 17 yards on 3rd down. You can't do that in situations like that.
Bruce, I could be totally wrong about this. But when I look at the last 2 fourth quarter, when you play a game, you want to go out there and not think. You want to do, right? Mm-hmm. Those that think get in trouble. Those that have a knee injury and try and, for lack of a better phrase, it's like a pitcher when they have an elbow injury. They try and protect the elbow, then they blow out their shoulder.
Overcompensate, right?
Correct. Yep. So when you're making all these mistakes in the fourth quarter, and you know that's why you're blowing games, I think you start to think to yourself, don't take a penalty. Don't take a penalty. Now you're not thinking about playing. You're thinking about don't take a penalty. And then it cascades.
There can certainly be distractions in that situation.
They are living in that world right now. Don't make a mistake instead of just going out there and playing.
Yeah. And it's hard to free your mind until you do it, right? That's kind of the catch-22. It's the you've got to be able to play free. And you've got to be able to play in clean air. And but until you can execute there, how can you stay there? And that's where they are. I mean, it's a tough place to be right now. I think most people would look at the Broncos and say, The talent is there, but I'm not ready to give them a total check on that. I mean, until the talent is producing and executing, is it really great talent? Is it really good talent? I mean, no, for me, not until they can prove consistently that they can do those things when they need to do it. I do think they have talent on this football team. I think they have very good talent on that defense. But it hasn't coalesced. It hasn't been, they haven't done it in any kind of complimentary fashion, and they're paying the price for it.
Quoting your favorite singing group of all time, En Vogue.
Thank you.
Free your mind and the rest will follow.
There you go.
And that's where the Broncos are right now. Their mind is not free. They are making mistakes, and now you're stacking that stuff. So when you go into the fourth quarter, don't make a mistake. Don't take a penalty. And that's when accidents happen.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about, and this is their verbiage, they love the term stack. So you got to stack wins. You got to stack good days. You got to, well, the Broncos haven't been able to stack anything except for stuff that you'd like to get out from underneath.
The Broncos season so far, talk about stacking, is a game of Jenga. They are the ones always pulling out the block that makes everything fall down, not the other team.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue at this point. You've got pretty inarguable proof in the last 2 weeks.
You tell me honestly now, just say, no, Eric, I'm not going to do it. Will you please ask Sean Payton, why is this team so undisciplined?
Yes, I'm sure that will be asked. And if I'm in the queue, and if I'm one of those lucky guys that
raise your hand,
have the decoder ring in the queue on a very short day on a Monday, when our friend Megan Boyle just decides, I think, okay, that's all it looks like. I love it when she says, and I love Megan, don't get me wrong. I do. I really do. She's wonderful. Okay, coach, it looks like that's all the questions we have. And I'm sitting there thinking, I think there's about 10 or 12 more. And the irony is that Sean, a lot of times, is more than willing to take extra questions. I'm thinking right now he's probably not.
I'll tell you how bad it is for the Broncos right now. I'm going to talk about a friend of ours in the media who is the most optimistic person I've ever met in the media. He is the type of guy you can shoot him in the leg and he'd say, that's cool. I have another leg. Zach Stevens from DNVR was pissed off yesterday.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't even know
when you piss off Zach Stevens about the Broncos,
that's right.
You are doing something drastically wrong because he's positive about everything.
He's a positive person.
That's going to do it for us. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl, make it the best possible day you can.